Hey everybody, welcome to Always Bored, Never Boring. Today is a very exciting day for me because today, this happened. Today is actually Monday. I was supposed to receive my copy of Warhammer Underworlds Shadespire on Saturday, but in typical fashion, the one moment that I stepped out of my house was the moment that the postman decided to deliver. So this went back to the local depot and I only got to pick it up today. And I haven't opened it yet. All I've done is taken off the wrap on the outside. I'm super excited to take a look inside because I've been waiting for this game for a long time. Unlike other Games Workshop games, or many Games Workshop games, they've been a little bit better recently, but unlike many Games Workshop games where you only get to find out a couple of weeks in advance that they're actually going to happen, this has been teased for months and months, and Games Workshop have been doing a really good job of building up anticipation for it, and I have been particularly hyped for it, and yeah, very, very, very excited, despite the fact that this cover art is awful. I mean, that's really bad artwork, isn't it? That's terrible. I can't even begin to list all the things that are wrong with it. This shoulder plate is weird. It's got like a design on it, but it looks weirdly flat. And then this sword, what kind of angle is that at? Something just seems off with the. It looks like if you were to follow these lines here and here, they would somehow miss the rest of this here, and this handle doesn't seem to be on the same plane as the blade, and yeah, it's just not very good. And then down here, this pose looks really awkward. Not the fact that looks like one of those foam swords that you can buy in a toy shop, but this pose, that doesn't look like that axe is being swung. There doesn't seem to be there's no sense of movement or momentum behind it. And yeah, and also look here in the background. Despite the fact that Games Workshop have done a really good thing here, because there are 3 Stormcast Eternals in the box. You know, the big fellas in the gold armor, and one of them is actually a female warrior. This is the second female warrior that we have seen for the Stormcast Eternals. The previous one was in the brand new Age of Sigmar starter set, fighting off some plague Nurgle minions. So yeah, it's really cool. I'm really pleased to see another female character turning up in the Age of Sigmar universe, and hoping to see a lot more. But look, they've stuck her right at the back. Women, know your limits. You can be in the game, but be at the back. I'm being facetious a little bit there. I know it's probably not intentional that she's wedged at the back there whilst Captain Stonejewel with his crazy eyes gets pride of place, but you know, she is hidden away there. But I'm talking a lot about the cover, and I haven't even opened the box yet, and you know, we're over 3 minutes into this video, and yeah, I'm just really excited. But yeah, it's a bit silly. For those who don't know what Shadespire is all about, where have you been? It's this core set, and this is important. It is a core set. This core set is for 2 players, and it's like an arena fighting game. We have 2 teams. You've got a team of Blood Reavers and a team of the big chunky Stormcast Eternal Warriors. 3 of those chaps, 5 of these chaps. They're in a arena comprising 2 different boards. The boards are double-sided, and you can arrange them in a load of different configurations. And you know, there's a storyline about being in the city of Shadespire, and sort of being trapped there in eternal conflict. But really, it's just an excuse to have a bit of a smackdown. You can buy, or you will be able to, at the moment they're not available, but you will be able to buy extra warbands, and each warband comes with more cards and things like that, because it is a largely card-driven game. The cards, you have basic actions and things, but the cards give you extra special things you can do, and the cards also provide objectives. And there are some skellies coming out and some orcs coming out, and they've teased dwarves and skaven, or well, they're not called dwarves and skaven anymore. I don't know what they're called in Age of Sigmar, because yeah, it's not orcs, it's uruks, and it's not skavens. Are probably called snitter twitchers or something. I don't know. But yeah, it's super exciting. And yeah, this is the 2-player starter set, but you can have up to 4 players if you've got extra gangs and boards and things. And I've been waiting for this for a long time, and I still haven't opened the blooming box. But before I do, one moment, I just wanted to talk very, very, very briefly about this. Games Workshop released card sleeves for this game. Games Workshop for a long time had their finger so far from the pulse of the board game industry, it was unbelievable. But the last couple of years they've really sort of got back in the board game market. They've produced some really amazing board games, and they've done a lot of stuff to make their core lines, 40k and Age of Sigmar, more accessible. But they're constantly coming out with new things that make me go, wow, look, is this really Games Workshop? And card sleeves is one of them. It's just not something that they really do. So it's quite cool to have card sleeves. I don't generally sleeve any cards for any games. I briefly sleeved all the cards for Mage Knight once upon a time, and then just didn't really like it and took them all back out again, and don't use even really flimsy cards. I don't tend to bother. But I just can't. It's weird. I sound a bit of an idiot for doing it, but I kind of wanted to support Games Workshop doing something that was a move towards being a bit more about board games, for making a move that is what I see to be a positive move into making things that they've discovered that board gamers want. Because card sleeves are a big thing in the board game world. I'm not entirely sure why. So it's not like Games Workshop needed my money. They're quite happy with the millions they already make. But these packs were £5 each, and I got them for £4 each online, and I kind of got them just one, I guess part of it was completionism, but part of it was just because I kind of wanted to say, yeah, I appreciate you doing these things that are a little bit outside the remit of what you would normally do. So yeah, they're sleeve packs, and gotta say, really, really nicely done sleeve packs. You'll notice that there are 37 in Garrix Reavers and only 35 in Steel Hearts Champions. And that's because these aren't all just the same kind of sleeve. There's 3 different types of sleeve in each pack. Because when you make your warband for Shadespire, you create a deck of 12 objectives. You always have to have 12 objective cards. So this pack, each of these packs contains 12 sleeves with team-specific iconography to house your 12 objectives. You also create a deck of at least 20 power cards. So each of these packs contains 20 sleeves for power cards, which have a different back to the back for the objectives. That's kind of cool. And then you also have, for each of your characters in your warband, you have a double-sided stat card. So each of these packs contains enough clear sleeves with no iconography on either side for housing double-sided cards. So because there are 5 warriors in Garrix Reavers and only 3 in Steel Hearts Champions, there's 2 extra sleeves in the Garrick pack. So yeah, you get exactly enough card sleeves for 12 objectives, 20 power cards, and then clear sleeves for each of your team members. And that's really cool. It's a shame that there aren't a few more power card sleeves in each pack, because 20 is actually the minimum number of cards that you can have in your power deck. You can have more, but they do recommend 20 because you're going to cycle through that deck, and the whole point of constructing a deck is trying to get those cards that you need in your hand when you need them. If you have a massive sprawling deck, the chances are you're just not going to see those cards. But it would have been nice to have just a few extra sleeves, say 5, just so that you could, if you wanted to have a deck that's 21 cards or 22 cards, just if there was, you know, when you're deck constructing, you always get that point where you go, okay, I've got 20, I really want this one extra card. So that would have been nice. But even so, I would say that is a really nicely put together set of sleeves. And I don't know how common it is, because I don't buy sleeves. I don't think any other company has ever made sort of specific like faction packs of sleeves that have different types of sleeves within the same pack. I mean, I may be wrong. I may be wrong on that, but I've never seen it because it's not something that I normally would buy. But there we go. I paid £8 just as a way to say, thanks Games Workshop, you're still learning. Good lads. Lads and lasses, I should say. Here's that box art again. It's still awful. It's almost as bad as the glare from the light. Right. Yeah, glary because this is a really nice glossy box. It's a shame the artwork isn't nicer. Okie dokie. Inside. Boards. Shrink wrap boards. There are... Oh, and tokens. Let's move this to one side a second so we've got clear space. Yeah, so we've got two boards. They're double-sided and they fold in the middle. And on the back we've got a sheet of tokens. These are glory tokens. These are objective markers. These are... I believe that's a block token, because one of the actions you can do is a guard action that makes it so that you've got better chance of defending against attacks. There's tokens to represent you're not allowed to move again, because if you've done certain move actions you can't do them again. All that sort of stuff, you know, normal board gamey sort of stuff. And it looks like there are 3 punch boards of tokens. I've got a little knifey. So let's see if I can open this without damaging me boards. Oh, look at that. Oh. I was going to say, it's alright, I'll edit it out, but I'm a lazy editor. I probably won't. You'll probably have to sit and watch this, cringing as I almost cut my finger and cut me boards. I don't know, maybe I will cut this out, or maybe I'll put some nice elevator music over the top of it or something. We got there. What's the time on the clock? About 7 hours. Right. Oh, right. I'll be back in a second. If you were ever in any doubt that I was a professional, well, I think I've laid those doubts to rest. We're back, and I have grappled with the shrink wrap and finally removed it from these token sheets. These token sheets, they're not very exciting. Look, there they are. I also removed the shrink wrap from the rules manual while you guys weren't watching, because it was painful enough the first time. Let's have a look at the board. It's not a very big board. It's a very compact sort of game. It's designed to play out in 3 rounds. You have very small teams. The starter armies, like I've said, is 3 versus 5, and the board is very small. The artwork on it is lovely. It's really, really nice. I'm going to assume that this is the same artist that worked on Silver Tower and Betrayal at Calf and Burning of Prospero. Burning of Prospero in particular and Silver Tower had absolutely lovely board art, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is the same artist. If anybody knows, yeah, say in the comments, because whoever it is, it's quite a talent. Deserves a shout out, but I don't know who it is. Shadespire is a creepy place. It's got lots of graves and things. You know, it's the realm of the dead. check it out. It's Nagash. Hey, buddy. It's very cool. It's very cool. There's obviously a few sort of choke point areas and things. It's cool. Cool boards. Cool boards. What I particularly like at the moment with what Games Workshop have been doing with some of their newer stuff, this is stuff that I talked about with the new 40k starters, First Strike and No Fear, is that they're really trying to be more inclusive, more accessible. They're trying to make the hobby accessible for everybody, and this board game is a really good example of it. The core set has everything you need to get started, and the miniatures have been particularly purposefully done in such a way that you can just snip them off of a frame and push them together without glue. They are very simple, and yet you can glue them if you want, but they are designed just to push together. And as they have done with all of their stuff recently, the very simple instructions with color-coded symbols and things like that. And yeah, this is just something that they've been doing a lot recently. And with instructions like this, you really can't go wrong. I did a little video not long ago talking about following through Games Workshop instructions, and if you follow the color coding and if you follow the numbering, you just can't go wrong. Very, very simple, and yeah, the models all just push together, which is great. And that's just one of the things they've done to sort of try and make Shadespire look as user-friendly as possible. They've included a cheat sheet. It's a quick start sheet. You can begin here. It tells you how to assemble just these 4 chaps here. Well, 3 chaps and a chap S, and it talks you through the nature of the stat cards and how you make an attack, and it sort of gets you immediately, throws you into the game, which is cool. And then you've got the rule book, which is, it's got a full reference on the back, and you know, lots of good stuff. It's got a whole section on alternative rules. Very, 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 very detailed. Good. It's just a good layout. Oh, look. You want some spoilers? So, Steelheart's Champions are the guys in the box, and Far Striders, obviously coming in the future. Garrick's Reavers are in the box. Magor's Fiends, obviously on the way. We've got Iron Skulls Boys. We know that those go up for pre-order this weekend, as does the Sepulchral Guard, the Skellies, and then look, dwarfs. Ooh, the Chosen Axes, Fire Slayers, spelled with a Y because they're cool. And down here, Spikeclaw's Swarm. Oh look, they still call them Skaven. Skaven are still Skaven, I guess, because they made that name up in the first place, unlike names like Orcs and Elves, which they didn't make up. Yeah, very nicely laid out, good diagrams, nice artwork, all good stuff. Continuing that theme of being completely accessible, miniatures, 2 frames with pre-detailed bases, so you don't have to worry about sticking on sand or flock or anything like that. It's all on there, and also, most obviously, color coded, and it's surprisingly rich colors on this. Very, very deep blue and a really, really nice red. Yeah, color coded, so you don't have to worry about painting them if you're not into that sort of thing. You can just snip them out of the frames, push them together, and like I said, without glue, and you are good to go. And each army is a different color. The orcs are green, the skeletons are bone colored or white, And I've seen a picture of them all together, and it looks really cool. Now, I am a painter. I do paint, but I'm also incredibly busy, and so I don't get to paint as much as I would like. And things with colour-coded components tend to get pushed to the bottom of the queue over things that are in standard ugly Games Workshop grey, which is most things. So I tend to push things that are colour-coded to the bottom. I still haven't painted Space Hulk, for example, because that was colour-coded. But further than that, like I said, I've seen pictures of sort of the 4 different warbands fighting each other, and I really like the look of it. It made me all nostalgic. It reminded me of Hero Quest with the bone-coloured skeletons fighting the green orcs and the red reavers there. It just reminded me of Hero Quest, and I don't know if I'm going to paint them or not. I can't decide. But really lovely bases, really nice sculpting on them, and yeah, even though they're push fit, even though you don't need glue, even though they're color coded, this is standard Games Workshop quality. And when I say standard Games Workshop quality, what I mean is blooming brilliant. Games Workshop quality, always exceptional. And look, grip seal bags. Many grip seal bags. You know, that's, again, not the sort of thing that Games Workshop tends to do on a regular basis. Dice. Attack dice, defense dice. And, yeah, not regular pips. Icons. We've got criticals, obviously. Smashy damage. And there's 2 types of damage. There's smashy damage and stabby damage. Smashy damage is appearing on 2 sides, and stabby damage appears to be on 1 side. So there we go. When you roll your dice for attacking, you have to roll a certain type of symbol, dependent on what kind of weapon you're carrying. Like if you're carrying a ruddy great big axe or a big broadsword, you're probably rolling smashy damage. If you've got knives or swords or a spear, you're probably rolling stabby damage. Crits. These support icons, because in this game positioning is really, really important, because you want to be supporting your allies, and when you're defending, if there's people close by, you get bonus defenses and things like that. Oh yeah, and look, 2 types of defense. Shield defense, which means just taking one on the chin and hoping your armor saves the day, or dodging, you know, getting out of the way. Sneaky elf tactics. Dice are a pretty decent size. They seem quite nice. Etched, aren't screen printed or anything. Shouldn't wear off. Yeah. And finally, the meat of the game is the card decks. And again, Games Workshop have just really gone above and beyond with this. I'm incredibly impressed. Here's the Blood Reavers deck. Open this when you play your first game. This pack includes fighter cards, an objective deck, and a power deck for the Blood Reavers. So that is everything. That's a pre-constructed deck. It's got the stat cards for the Blood Reavers, and then it's got the objectives and powers. So that's a play-tested, pre-constructed deck, good to go. Liberators, the Stormcast Eternals. Open this when you play your first game. This pack includes fighter cards, an objective deck, and a power deck for the Liberators. So again, there you go. That is a pre-constructed, balanced, tested deck. You know, you're good to go. And there's a third Shrinky Wrap deck. Extra cards. Don't open this until you have played a few games. This pack includes extra objective cards and power cards that you can use to construct new decks for each warband. That's just cool. That's really clever. That's really nice, and that just makes it, you know, you open your game, you get the quick start sheet which says begin here, you build the 4 models it tells you to build, you crack open the pre-constructed decks, you lay down the board, punch a few tokens, and you're playing. And then when you're ready, when you've had enough of these decks, you can start adding in these extra cards, and then each expansion or each new warband comes with cards that are specific to that warband, but also a whole bunch of generic cards that you can use in any deck. So each new expansion that comes out is a whole bunch of new deck building options. I am not going to open any of these decks on camera. I think there's not going to be anything really that I can sort of show you that without kind of, you know, maybe spoiling it a little bit. But yeah, there's two different types of card. There are objectives, which this is a fighting game, but you're not just going into an arena to kill each other. You have a set of objectives. You try to achieve those objectives. You get glory points. Those glory points can be used to actually upgrade your characters mid-fight, so you can get sort of permanent boons. And the game is really about getting those objectives, because at the end of the third round, the person who had the most glory points from their objectives is the winner. So you know, you are trying to fight each other. You are trying to kill each other, but it's a lot about those objectives and achieving those goals. So I'm not gonna open a deck and show those objectives, because I don't think, I think that's probably stuff that you should see for yourself, learn for yourself. But you know, so I guess we'll leave it at that. This has been a very long video as it is, and I've just noticed this was in the bottom of the box. Shadespire. This was just the beginning. This was also the poster for Dark Crystal. Of course. Yay! Fight epic battles in an age of unending war. That would be Age of Sigmar. Oh, there you go. And there's an advertisement for Thunder and Blood, which is the Age of Sigmar starter set, or one of the Age of Sigmar starter sets, which actually has the box that converts into an extra piece of scenery, and it has a paper mat and colour-coded gold and red this time, colour-coded bits. Games Workshop really doing a great job at the moment. Very, very impressed, very happy with Games Workshop, because, you know, they've gradually got back into the swing of things, and I've always loved their miniatures. They've always done a really good job with their plastics. They've always done a really good job with their customer service, but they've also always done a really good job of being a bit at times, you know. So I think that, you know, they've turned a corner, and this is a very exciting product. Obviously, I've not played yet. I've not played, so I can't say whether it's a good game or not, but I'm very excited. I've been excited for this game for a very long time, and as a product, I just think it's wonderful. I just think everything's there and presented in such a way that, you know, if you've never assembled a miniature before, this has got to be one of the least intimidating prospects, which is exactly what it should be. This is, you know, it's a miniatures game, but it's a board game, and it needs to attract board gamers who don't necessarily build 40k armies and do all the whole tape measuring and painting thing. You don't need to do any of that. You don't need to be a hobbyist. You know, I've done a little video on snipping things out of sprues and stuff, but if you're worried about that sort of thing, you can check that out. But, you know, get a pair of snips and that's it. You're good to go. You don't even need glue, for goodness sake. What else can I say? I'm very excited. That's probably come across in this video. I don't know why I'm still talking. I want to stop recording so I can go and play. I will see you guys another time. Bye bye.